Hello everybody, it's Mimberly and welcome back to another video. Now, before the Love and Deepspace banner drops, by the time you guys see this, the banner's probably already going to be out. I wanted to take a moment to kind of follow back on my analysis video, which has done very well, by the way. So thank you so much for the love and support there. We're nearly at 1K at the time of recording this, so amazing. We will do more analysis videos. However, I do not hold even a single stone to the queen of analysis, that is Cyberspace Moors. And that is exactly what we are doing today. You guys know Cyberspace Moors by now. She does a lot of like analysis videos. Pretty sure she still has an info dev in her basement. I'm not letting that go. However, she's made an analysis video on the trailer for Heartbeats Ablaze. Now, disclaimer, I'm going to be going for Silas as a definite if I can. I'd like to get either Zane's or Caleb's or Raphael's card to kind of follow on from that if I was to lose a 50-50. Or like lose my precise wish, which I think is 25%. Could be wrong. Correct me in the comments if I am. However, I would like to take a moment to listen to the Queen's opinion, because she is much better at picking up these things than I am. And I kind of I don't want to say I want to copy her, because that's not what I'm doing, but I would like to see how she's interpreted things and if our opinions match up, or did she see something that I didn't and vice versa. So without further ado, get a drink, get some popcorn ready, because let's go. Hello, my queen.
Guys. So
hello, my queen. How are you?
Coming out, and it's called Heartbeats Ablaze, and we need to talk about it.
We do.
So before we begin, this is just my interpretation. I'm not telling you how to think or feel. So,
love that she gives that disclaimer at the beginning.
A polar night. For those of you that don't know, a polar night is a phenomenon in polar regions where the sun stays below the horizon for 24 hours or more.
It's such an interesting thing, because like in the UK, that's not a thing.
It's very ominous when it comes to the events of Love and Deepspace. And the polar night is likely to happen in the main story, and this is going to spell a lot of doom for the main story, basically. And of course, Zane is tied to this polar night as well. We've seen it mentioned in his birthday card.
So, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Polar night is bad news. And this banner is foreshadowing the events of what will happen on that polar night with each
Please
love interest.
No. Please
and
no.
To me, it kind of feels like this is the last night of our lives. I get that kind of feeling. Because they're dancing, they're doing things they don't usually do. And then, of course, the spice comes into it. The last night before, you know, a final battle.
I'm there for it.
Kind of vibe I get. So that could just be me, but I definitely 100% think this is going to foreshadow the main story. I also think there are a couple of myths for each of the love interests that will be foreshadowed in this as well, but I'm not 100%
interesting.
Sure.
Okay.
I do have some ideas though. So let's talk about what we're seeing on the screen right now before we dive
the boys.
Now, my first thing is I want to talk about Xavier's little snowflake here.
Is that snowflake? I thought that was a star.
He's crying, so I think there's going to be angst in Xavier's future.
Oh
so
God, no, please!
Xavier
I can't handle.
I think you're about to get a load of angst.
I can't handle the angst. It's bad enough with Zane.
So good luck with that.
Good luck.
Caleb's reminded me of two meteors kind of flying, you know, next to each other through space.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second, she's onto something. The blue and the red, it does look like meteors, doesn't it? I just thought they were two random bits of striped paint on his face. I didn't think they could potentially represent something. Oh my goodness.
And this reminded me of MC and Caleb. Whatever their,
my God. This is why she's the queen.
They were together and they came from the same source. So this seems to make sense. So that's what it immediately reminded me of. Now, Silas is over here. Looks like his eye is bleeding red. It looks like he's crying, and there are tears.
No,
it would not shock me at all if this is what we get in the future with one of his myths.
That's actually a good point. We've not seen Silas like get really emotional, have we? We've only seen him go soft. We haven't actually seen him like crying or anything. Oh God, I'm scared for the third myth. I'm already scared because I'm going to be broke, but if Silas cries in the third myth, that will break me. Now, whether it's going to break me more than the dragon myth, I don't know. We're going to find that out in the coming months, I feel. But if my prediction is right, being that the Silas myth is going to be just before or just after Christmas, so the 25th of December, I am so cooked.
Especially one in which MC might
Please like the video so I can afford to get the next myth.
Basically, prepare yourselves, guys, because this is all foreshadowing a lot of angst.
No, thank you.
So, with that being said, let's get into it. Now, if you haven't watched one of my videos before, I like to pause, talk about what we're seeing on the screen, what my interpretation is of it, and symbolically what it could mean. So just bear that in mind. Let's get started.
Whew, okay. I've had these songs stuck in my head since I watched the trailer, so...
Now, not to stop straight away, but the stage designs are quite important. So this right here,
Silas's, yep,
makes me think of a prison. And this up here kind of makes me think
interesting
of
interpretation.
A Blood Red Moon or something like that. So there's definitely something going on here with the way this looks. But yeah, immediately made me think of a prison because of the chains. And also, you'll see later on how Silas is sat on that stage when we begin.
Oh, he's on our knees for us. No, okay, right, I'm going to talk about this a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to Moore's opinion, and then I'm going to kind of say what I'm thinking. This could change from my original analysis video, because I've had some time to think on it since then. But when I see this stage, I don't necessarily think of a prison. I think more of a cage. Which, again, a prison could be interpreted as the same thing. But I think a prison and then a cage are two different things. Because, like, the reason I say is because you've got this round bit at the bottom, like, down here, right? And then you've got these, like, curtains, which could represent the bars. And then you've got this bit at the top here, which is black and red, like Silas's misty, black and red mist from his Evo. But it also reminds me of, like, a bird cage, which is, like, a stand-up one, where it's like that, and then it goes up at the top. So that's how my brain is interpreting it. And then with the chains, that could, like, represent being trapped. Or it does also take me back to No Defense Zone. Now, No Defense Zone, obviously, I haven't been able to really properly play the card multiple times myself because I do not own the card. However, one thing I do vividly remember from that card was, like, you know, he was cuffed, he could not move, and he was tied down to a chair. And then when you look at the first bit of movement from Silas, the fact that he's already on his knees on the floor, that could potentially represent Silas basically being at the mercy of MC. Obviously, without playing the card, I'm not going to know for certain what the context leading up to this dance is. But it could be that maybe MC is, like, basically bribed him, or she's manipulating him in some way. And when I say manipulating him, I mean as in she's, like, basically making him dance to get what she wants, and that she'll maybe reward him or something for that. Because I think Silas and MC, in my personal opinion, and I'm not just saying this because I'm biased, and I will, again, disclaim that I have not got the best knowledge on all the lore of all the characters, so I'm not necessarily the best person to speak to. But when it comes to Silas, I do get the vibe that the dynamic between MC and Silas is very reward. So Silas gives something to MC as a reward, and then MC offers something to Silas as a reward to get what she wants. And I'm not trying to say MC is the dominant one in the relationship. I would actually argue it's the opposite. I think Silas is the one who mostly controls the relationship. But he doesn't control it directly. He kind of has MC on a bit of a leash, but she has a free leash. He only pulls when he needs to. And I think that's one of the reasons why Silas just appeals so much to me as a Love and Deepspace player. It's not just because he ticks all the boxes appearance-wise for me, but also the fact that, you know, he's the perfect blend of tough, badass mafia kind of vibes, and then goes to big softy. And he is a massive softie for the MC. He always checks her consent. After the beginning part, when we first meet him in the main story, in the N109 zone, after we're taken from the nest, after he realized that she was not going to remember her past with him when he was a dragon, He took a step back. He's letting her approach him steadily. He's not giving her immediately everything she wants. He's letting her earn it. And I think that's such a big show of respect on Silas's part, because Silas is one of those characters where he comes across to me like he's almost afraid that she'll find out the truth. So now that he knows that she's not going to find out the truth, he only gives her little sprinkles because he wants her to figure it all out on his own. And again, this guy could go into a completely different video about talk about the dynamic between Silas and MC. But that's how I interpret this. Now that we're breaking it down a lot more thoroughly, thanks to Moles here, I interpret this more as like a cage rather than a prison. But I can understand where Moles is getting that interpretation.
I think his whole dance tells the story.
Oh, yeah.
So that one is Silas's. And
with the chandelier, yeah.
This one being Caleb's is really important because you see the arrows pointing towards what looks like an eye. And this eye really reminds me of the eye
main story.
The nest in the main story when MC
now
was,
she said it, I see it.
Getting kidnapped, but not really. She wanted to find Silas. And
I would want to find Silas too.
It's this eye that came over to her instead at her. So I feel like this is quite important. And I also think it may be a very obscure hint to the sixth love interest. Now, I believe the sixth love interest has amber eyes. So it's very interesting that we've got this kind of color here as well.
That is actually a very interesting point, because we've not really heard much going on about a sixth love interest. I've always said that if they release a sixth love interest, I think it'd either be someone from Ever, or it be someone completely unrelated that we've not met in the story yet. Because, for example, Silas had been referenced in the story before he was officially announced. Obviously, he was already out by the time I started playing, so obviously I already know who he was. So, but again, for any people who played before Silas's release, Silas was briefly mentioned, but they didn't make a big deal about it. And as far as I know, I can't really think of many characters who would tick the boxes for potentially being, a sixth love interest. So let me know what you guys think on that. But if I'm being honest, I kind of hope that the sixth love interest is shit. And I'm going to be blunt. I can't keep up with the main five, let alone a sixth. And I don't want to get to a point where, it becomes... I don't think they would get away with doing any more than 6. I just think that'd be too unrealistic. But one thing I do say about Love and Deepspace that I have always preferred over other gotchas is the fact that they, instead of building and releasing all of these new characters, they grow on the characters they already have. So instead of pulling for individual characters like you do in games like, for example, Honkai Star Rail, Withering Waves, etc., you're pulling for memories for your favorite love interest. And, again, I will re-emphasize, when I first started Love and Deepspace, I did not feel anything for Xavier and Raphael in particular. I had more curiosity than anything. But over the past year, since I started playing Love and Deepspace, my feelings for all of the love interests has completely done a 180. Silas has stayed king from day one. I was told from the very beginning, you should do a reaction to Love and Deepspace because I really think you will like Silas. That was the description I was given. Now, how she knew me so well back then, I don't know. But when it came to, obviously, Caleb wasn't even released in the game back then. It was the main 4. So when I was first watching the trailers, I kind of thought, oh, Zane comes across as kind of like, the cold, heartless type. Raphael, like the mischievous teenager. And Xavier's just kind of a bit of a question mark because I didn't really know where Xavier was kind of going. He was very laid back. But as time's gone on and I've played more of the memories and tried to understand more of the lore with them, I do feel like I understand them a lot better. Now, granted, again, disclaimer, I am not the best when it comes to the lore. However, Silas in particular always stood out for me, not just because he was mentioned to me individually, but also because I like the concept of the M109 zone. So the fact that this eye is being referenced in Caleb's myth is really not myth. The fact that this is being potentially referenced, like the eye is being referenced in Caleb's card, is very interesting. Could that potentially mean that, Caleb is linked to the sixth love interest if that theory is correct? Which could, again, result in, could that person, the sixth love interest, be from Ever? We don't know.
I also think the sixth
If it's
love
Carver,
interest
though,
will
I'm
either be
going to be
introduced in
fuming.
Caleb's main
It
story
won't be
chapter
Carver.
update,
I don't believe it
or
will be.
after it. So I do think that is the sprinkling we are seeing of potential sixth love interest. But that is just my thing, guys. And as you can see, it's pointing towards it. It's like, guys, pay attention to this.
Yeah.
What I do find interesting is the X's. That's really interesting as well.
I'm
It's
scared.
almost like
Why is there
danger,
X's?
if anything. Now, the next stage to talk about is Xavier's.
Xavier's, beautiful.
This is so interesting to me because when I first watched it, I missed this first part and I just saw Xavier dancing, and I got the feeling he was dancing on like a hunter's ground or something. You know, where we do our fights and battles?
Yeah.
It almost felt like that. And this is very interesting because you know what it does remind me of, and I'm definitely overthinking this, like a satellite. You know, one of those big satellites that you get?
I don't think you're overthinking that.
And we've got
now
the
you've said it.
holograms of the moon here as well.
Yeah,
So,
because
again,
obviously Xavier's like the very
it's
celestial
foreshadowing, I think, the main
vibes.
story and what we're going to see. But yeah, we have the moons here. We've got phases of the moons around there. Xavier's is very, very, very mysterious, and I love it. I also just realized I went right past Raphael because it was such a blink and you'll miss it moment. So let me just go back to Raphael's, which is here. So this is super interesting because we've got a chandelier on the floor and we've got red mist surrounding it.
Yeah, because at first I thought that was part of Silas's.
Is so compelling because I can't quite put my finger on the symbolism of this beyond Raphael really becoming his true powerful form, like really exposing this power of his and its destructive force as well. It's almost like symbolic of what's going on internally. You know, you've got a chandelier that's broken on the floor, but it's still beautiful. It's a beautiful broken thing. And then the red mist.
That's Raphael in a nutshell, isn't it? Beautiful broken thing.
The lingering, haunting thing that Raphael has when it comes to Lemuria and his hatred for humans and the betrayal that's so deeply embedded into him. You know, it definitely feels a lot like that. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out because I realized I completely forgot about it.
Oh yeah, no, you're good, my love.
Of course, we need to find Zane's. So those of you that follow me won't be surprised that I'm not surprised seeing this because I've been working on a theory to do with a triangle that has past, present and future Zanes. In fact, let me just get it up for a second here. So this is what I've been working on. Now, this final Supreme Healer God Zane, I don't vibe with anymore, so ignore that. I'm still working on that. But as you can see, it relates to wealth, wisdom, and romance in terms of all the Zanes and the past, future, and present, and all of them converging into the center to give us Happy MC and Zane, like the perfect timeline with them. So I definitely think there's something to this. So seeing this come up was not surprising.
I can't wait for you to post your theory on that.
To it. So this correlates to the 6 Zanes I think we're getting for definite. Now, I don't know if we're getting any more Zanes.
One more Doctor is hard enough.
Of each of these, I'm going to call them pyramids, of each of the pyramids here. And what I also love here is the stairs going up, because this is the ultimate goal for them. They want to walk up these stairs and get to the center and get to that perfect life. So yeah,
how do you see these things, my love? I just look at it and think, oh, so, pretty.
Let's actually move on to what we're seeing in terms of the love interests.
Yes, please. The outfits do look still amazing, though, and I'm very happy with them. I will watch this as many times as I don't care. I'm milking the hell out of this banner. Right, come on, Mim, focus.
Okay, there's a lot I want to talk about here, and it concerns the way that Silas is dancing. But first off, remember how I said this was like a prison? Well, this stance that Silas does at the beginning is like he's a prisoner with his hands cuffed. There is something going on here. I wouldn't be surprised seeing handcuffs, because that's a theme that comes up a lot with Silas. So he's handcuffed, he's bound, he's chained, he's stuck here.
Like
And
I was
as
saying.
he's dancing, I feel like this dance is representing his need to break free from these chains.
Like, because he keeps going around his neck.
And liberates him. But there's a lot of interesting choreography during this dance that we need to look at. So, first of all, this. Now, I don't know if this is like a trumpet or a horn or an instrument he's playing or something like that. But it also reminded me of a drink. Now, I am theorizing about Silas right now in terms of his next myth, and
could be maybe drinking like a goblet of blood.
I've got loads of different ideas. One of them is to do with sound being very important, and another is to do with possibly a poison drink or something like that. So I'm not sure if that's it, and I'm not sure if this is what this is representing. I just think it's very interesting he does this.
Yeah.
It could also be that he's putting his hands together in prayer. Like, that's also another thing. He could be praying.
I think his hands would be more like down towards here, though, if he was praying. Personally, from what I've seen. A disclaimer, I am not religious in any way, shape, or form, and I personally do not have a religion. So, again, if I am wrong, or I'm explaining this incorrectly, please correct me in the comments. But when I have seen people pray, because when I was in school, I was in a Christian school, right? So, they would always, like, basically give us like a moment of prayer at the end of like an assembly. Now, I personally did it for a good couple of years until I kind of realized I just didn't believe in it and then just chose not to do it. And that was my own decision. I was not like, influenced by my parents or anything like that. But a lot of people would put their heads down, like, because we'd be sat on the floor. We'd be sat on the floor and we'd be putting our hands together like this, and our hands would be about there, and we'd be looking down at our hands with our eyes closed. So if that is prayer, it's interesting to me that it's so high up. Like, is he that desperate he's like going up there for the prayer, or is this something else? I personally think this could be referencing him drinking like a goblet of blood, which could potentially suggest Silas being a vampire, as his third myth. I kind of feel like that one's a bit hit or miss, though. Or it could also represent potential like fallen situation, which again could potentially link to fallen angel vibes for the myth. Honestly, whatever it ends up being, I'm sure I'll love it. But I will admit, when I was thinking about this, actually, just before I hit record here, so the choreography, as I mentioned in my analysis, it was very highly likely that Infold had to hire somebody to do a motion tracking so that they could then implement this onto the models for Love and Deepspace. But who would have come up with the choreographies? Because there's going to be no way that they just said, hey, do a dance for us. They would have had they most likely, I may be collaborating with the company, but we don't get told anything like this. This is just my theory. I think what Infold had done is, like Moses said, they got somebody in to create a dance for each love interest, because I'm sure Moses will point it out at some point in the video, but every dance and style of music is so different for each love interest that there is a story behind it, right? And I think they would have done the same with all of them, but I think there is a particular meaning or hints in each dance. And I do think the way that Infold drops subtle hints is very, very smart. For example, I can't remember which trailer it was in, but there was a trailer where Xavier was holding a sword and there was a crown on the table. The crown linked to King Xavier and things like that. There's just so many references that foreshadow upcoming myths, and a lot of us will look over it, but then when we see it, we go, oh wait. And that is why I think Infold's marketing team are so good. Now, granted, I do wish they will be a bit more transparent about when the trailers are dropping, so we're not having men waking up at 4 a.m. for multiple nights in a row until the trailer drops. But I will confess that this trailer exceeded expectations for me, and the fact that we are doing deep dives into this is so good because I love hearing other people's opinions.
So I do think this is an important thing he does, though.
Yeah.
And then immediately it blows apart. So it's really interesting if it is
I'm not complaining about the visual I'm getting.
Like that. But either way, he's dancing, and it really does look like he is struggling with himself. He's struggling to break free.
Or struggling to control himself.
We also get this moment. And this, to me, looks like a wing right here where his arm is bent back. So to me, this looks like almost like a one-winged creature, or a creature with a wing that's broken or hurt. So it would not surprise me if we saw that in the future. I do
imagine if like Silas is like a phoenix or something like that.
Motif is important throughout Silas's lore. We do see that a lot in the game with Silas, so it would not surprise me if this is hinting towards that.
Yeah.
Now, one other thing I want to point out about his choreography here is this moment where he grabs his neck. Now, if you are familiar with Silas's lore, the neck seems to come into play a lot for both Silas and MC.
I am certainly not complaining about that. I have a thing for being held by the neck. Kate does it to me sometimes. This may be TMI, but Kate has got very, how do I explain this? He's got, like, I've got little dinty hands, okay? Like, these are my hands. They're fucking tiny. I can't even wrap them around my own throat, really, properly. Kate, however, when he puts his hand on my throat like that, he does it in a way that doesn't hurt me, but his fingers, like, reach, like, back there on my neck. So if I'm being a brat to him, which yes, I do, because you know what, I'm his wife, I'm allowed to, he will grab me and I immediately will shut up because he just immediately takes control. And Silas is definitely, out of all the love interests, he's definitely got a thing for the neck. And this is where my theory of him being a vampire for myth would make sense, because there is so much emphasis on the neck that it wouldn't really make much sense as to why he's got such a big thing for the neck, unless he was potentially a vampire in a past life. But what my other theory as well with the neck is, like, it's a sense of security, because for those of you who may not have got a lot of experience in this field, I'm just going to explain what happens. So we'll use Kate as an example. If Kate grabs me by the neck here, he will put pressure on these 2 points on my neck. So like right there, so there, and then there on the other side. So that way he's not crushing my windpipe. He's just very, very carefully giving me that sensation of being choked without actually choking me out. It gives me like a lightheaded feeling. And again, I do have a theory that Silas is more of a edging / passionate lover rather than a hard fuck. But the reason I say it, I'm gonna be honest, I've read fan fiction of Silas. That's gonna be a Patreon exclusive, so you know, keep an eye out for that. But Silas does come across to me as in he's like a pleasure dom. He would focus on MC's pleasure rather than his own. So my theory is that, again, the neck could be a way of making sure she's satisfied before he finishes himself. And again, this could be, I don't know how I'm going to get away with this on YouTube. I think I'll be alright because I've not said anything in particular. But my theory with the neck thing is it could be like a sense of security for Silas. Or it could represent the hold that MC has on him.
So I do think that in the future myth, we are going to be seeing something to do with the neck and one of them getting hurt, or
no,
it'll be something to do with them ingesting something, because Silas kind of chokes there. So, you know, this definitely looks like he is choking.
Oh, God.
So it could be that MC herself.
Moors, if you've predicted this, I'm going to cry and I'm going to send you my therapy bill.
To say, nonetheless, that, you know, I think this is very important. Also, side note, I just noticed the horns in Silas's hair. That's really adorable.
Oh, he's so cute.
So that's what I noticed. The whole dance and everything until MC comes as his liberator is very interesting. Now, when MC arrives here,
grabs him and lifts up
it's
his
like
head.
She's liberated him. And she's like, you're
Tamed
indebted
him
to me now. I am your queen. And if that sounds familiar, in No Defense Zone, she wants Silas to call her his queen. And he does in the end. But it's only after she stopped performing power. Now, for me, the way I see Silas and his approach to MC is that he wants her to feel her real, authentic power over him, and then he levels the playing field between them. So he wants her to really genuinely know she is a powerful woman. In fact, not even a powerful woman, a powerful being. And once she knows that, he can then tango with her, and it's fair. So I think
God,
that's
the way he's looking
really
at me on the
interesting
screen
that
right
we get
now.
here because suddenly it's fair and they're on equal ground here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I also think possibly if MC has liberated him somehow, that might be what we see in a future myth.
Yeah.
Or she's somehow tied herself to Silas again. Now, I do have a theory, and it does require MC and Silas to tie themselves to each other yet again. So hopefully I'm on the right track with that, if that's what this is representing. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to really say. This isn't what I wanted to say. Now, you can't see it very well here, but MC has like a tattoo on her arm that I want to talk about. It's this one here.
I mentioned this.
This looks like possibly a mythological bird, like a phoenix. Now, if you don't know, I have a video up that my last video actually
I need to
was
watch
on
it.
this,
I
and
need
was
to
on,
watch
is
it.
MC a mythological bird? And I was theorizing that she might be a phoenix. Now, what I find interesting is if this is a phoenix, this in the center here,
It's like a diamond.
because it looks like a kind of jewel or something. And I actually theorize that MC is taking all of these ether cores and protocols into herself, and they all represent different colors of a Chinese phoenix. And when she does get them all, she will become the real phoenix she is. So this could be representing that. And also, it looks like it's holding a sword. That might just be me, but it really does look like it's grabbing a sword here.
Yeah,
So
I see what you mean.
Be the next myth weapon we get.
It better not be, because I am shit with the sword.
So I just thought that was interesting, and I really wanted to call that out because, yeah, there's a lot of interesting things going on with Silas here.
Yeah.
I really think this is foreshadowing his myth more than the main story. Again, I could be completely wrong, guys. Take it with a pinch of salt, but
honestly, Moz, I am very
so
convinced. Like, I'm going to be blunt. After Moses' correctly predicted Zainsford myth, that's really improved her credibility for me. And that's not I'm not trying to sound horrible when I say that. But when I say that, I mean as in, like, Moz has come up with some very interesting theories. But the fact that she saw enough hints to correctly predict the myth was, to me, absolutely shocking. And it really is making me respect her opinions, because as a content creator who is relatively new to analysis videos, I don't always know what sort of things I need to look out for. Like, I can look at this and think, oh, there's nothing really to clock here. But there could be multiple things that I am looking over. And I think this is where more in-depth creators like Cyberspace Moles are always going to take the crown on this. Because I can give my opinions online. I'm not fussed about that. Obviously, I expect some people to contest me on it. Like, for example, I made a comment on my last video about saying about the dancer, saying, oh, I don't think they're going to be in the card. And then I was immediately smacked back with saying, well, no, because it would be a waste if they didn't put the dance in there. And obviously the only reason I'd thought that was because we'd sold the spice and the kindled, and I wasn't sure how we were going to get from dancing to spice. So, but now that I think about it, I do agree. I think it would be a waste to not put the dance in the card, because, you know, it would be a great marketing tool, but it would also make a lot of sense to put it in the myth. I keep saying myth. I could put it in the kindled, especially with, you know, Luzio coming back. So, though I will say, if the kindleds are there and I get to put the boys in beach outfits and towels and, you know, Dragon Silas dancing, I would be very happy. But yeah, that's just my personal thoughts. I do think Moles is probably one of my favorite content creators, at least for Love and Deepspace, just because her opinions are so interesting to me. And every time I see her react, you guys ask me to react to her videos, so I know that you guys enjoy this too.
It really does feel like they are telling us a story with this.
Yes.
And you know, even as MC, is lying back here like this, you know, it's like she's, forgive me for saying this, guys, but something bad has happened to her, and Silas is keeping her held up because
Mars,
she's
don't
quite,
jinx it!
loose.
No!
Is all I'm gonna say.
No!
So, yeah, very interesting. So that's...
I'm going to just make the disclaimer as well that I'm probably not going to have as much to say for the remaining characters because, again, my lore knowledge is not the best. But if I feel like I want to add something to it or give my own personal opinion, I will stop the video. But this video is already nearing 40 minutes. And we are 15 minutes into Moles' video. So...
to say about Silas.
And I'm not trying to overtake her video. I put the video link in the description. Go check her out.
Next?
Yes.
Yes.
His dance is very good, though. I can't wait to play these cards. I really can't. This is such a good song.
Okay, now before we actually get into Raphael, I realized I forgot to talk about Silas's song. Now, I know that Silas's song is being made fun of a lot right now, but my friend Becca actually had a great interpretation of the song. So there are 3 lines which we can take a lot of meaning from. You know, the passion, my desire making me crazy.
I mentioned this!
A little bit more temptation. It's that whole devouring each other. They are, you know, so drawn to each other because of that soul bond. They want each other in that very almost animalistic way. And Becca was just saying how, okay, so the music, the noise of it is a distraction because...
Why are people making comments about Silas's song? I personally think it's really, really bloody catchy. Like, I've had it in my head all the time, and I didn't think that Silas was going to have some sort of soft, sloppy song. I thought if he was going to have anything, it'd be either something along the lines of deep and intimate and sexy, or it was going to be... you know, one kind of emphasizing his power, because, you know, he is the leader of the M109 zone. So maybe you guys can shed some light on that for me, but I don't understand why people are commenting or, you know, a bit 50-50 about his song.
That's their relationship. It's how to learn to listen to each other and cut through all that noise and, you know, get to the root of who they really are. And when I started to think about it, I realized Silas does have a bad reputation, and if MC actually listened to that, she'd never really fully understand Silas. So she ended up cutting through that noise to get to know him.
Yeah.
But I also love the way that Becca says, you know, like dragon roars echoing off a canyon wall, or ambient gunshots sounding like in the N109 zone.
Oh!
Yeah, it does sound like that. There's a lot of noise in his song, and it's cutting through that noise. Because when MC actually comes into the dance, things start to smooth out and level out. It's actually really interesting. So it's almost like Silas is...
Maybe I should just join Blue Sky instead of being on Twitter, because it seems to... I hear it's better, but I don't know.
So thank you very much, Becca, for that interpretation, because I absolutely adore it. Now, getting back to... Raphael.
The chandelier is falling in the background.
Raphael. Again, we've got the huge chandelier in the background. He is a beautiful... almost actually unbroken thing, because I'm just now realizing they're not actually broken, but the chandelier has fallen. So it's
fallen
very,
from
very
godhood, maybe.
And my favorite thing about Raphael's is he's dancing as if he is containing a lot of emotions here. Like, this is a mask right now. This is the mask he wears. This is our happy-go-lucky, you know, Raphael.
This is our mischievous little boy.
Very chill. Well, I say chill. He's you know, a little bit of a dork in my eyes. But
he's
in
playful
a really,
and mischievous.
Like, good way. Don't come at me for that, guys. I love him. I love Raphael.
We love Raphael.
But this is the side of him that he puts on for everyone. And this, to me, feels like he's trying to break out of that. And it's getting worse and worse. All of these feelings he has in him are starting to come out. We get this moment with the fire, you know, it's slowly starting to come out. And then the red mist, which I said earlier was like his trauma, is starting to develop. And look at him. He's now starting to lose himself in these deep emotions and in this trauma he has, until finally it all comes out into this crimson sea, and that will
It kind of looks like a
familiar
nebula, doesn't
to
it?
you guys, you know. So it doesn't surprise me that we're seeing this imagery as well, and I wouldn't be surprised actually if this was foreshadowing a more powerful version of Raphael where crimson is involved.
Oh god.
So yeah, there's a lot going on there, and it isn't until MC appears that he manages to anchor himself. So there's a lot of passion, a lot of fire. The trauma is surrounding them, the fire is surrounding them, but they're both, you know, working through it together. And my favorite thing about the song is that it feels like it's about falling apart, but in a safe place. So
Yeah.
MC is Raphael's safe place to kind of fall to pieces.
MC is basically Raphael's anchor, metaphorically
and
speaking.
allows him to fall apart in the safety of like her embrace. And
just making sure
it reminds
I don't
me
have
a lot
any
of Omnipotent Perception. This
Texas. There we
like,
go.
Drown in the sea.
Because I am expecting my husband to call me any day now.
This isn't something easy for Raphael. So yeah, I think that symbolically that's what it all means to me. And I've just got to say there is one moment here. Oh, look at the way he looks at her. That is the most gorgeous man I have ever seen. And honestly, that is the best expression I've ever seen on Raphael. That is
the expressions on this game is next level.
That's my thoughts on Raphael. Let's move on into Xavier.
Before we do quickly move on to Xavier, I want to make a quick comment about Raphael in general. So Raphael was kind of one of those characters that from the very beginning, I liked him for his personality, but I wasn't so much on him as a love interest. I was just thinking he always just like the goofy friend sort of thing. But as time's gone on, I'm going to be very honest when I say that he has actually rivaled Zane and Caleb on multiple occasions. Because when he's passionate, it's almost like he's shy to be passionate and take control because he's scared of losing control. And again, I might make my own talk video about this, so if you want me to, please let me know and I will do some research and try to plan out a video more in depth. But I see MC as an anchor to Raphael, and obviously we know that they have a very deep past, you know, with, you know, being the bride of the sea god and stuff like that. However, Raphael never really forced himself on her. And I think that's a really important thing that we need to bear in mind, because Raphael comes across to me that he holds himself back because he maybe understands he can be a little bit much. Like, for example, when MC brings out the apple in the Midnight Stroll bond, he's like, "Is that all you have, an apple?" And then MC's like, "Oh, well, that's the last one." He immediately softens and goes, "Oh, you know me so well," like that sort of thing. Now, that's just when I first played it, that was my interpretation of him being playful. But now that I think about it, that could potentially link to a trauma where maybe he's been too much and people have left him because he's been too much to be around. So when he realizes he's potentially crossing that boundary, he withdraws and he steps back. And I think, again, that's something that, again, I'm very happy to cover on my own video maybe, or I would potentially be very interested to hear what Moles has to say about that. But I just think Raphael is like broken in a way, and he just wants to make sure he doesn't lose MC again. Right, Xavier time. Yeah, the tie grab was something that really stood out to me.
Okay, so Xavier. I find Xavier so mysterious. I think this whole song and dance is so sensual because of the mystery surrounding it. Xavier has secrets, and I can't wait for us to discover them. But that's what this whole thing felt like, you know? And also just the way he is. It's very carefree. It's almost like he's reliving his teen years the way he wants to. And there is one moment that I find really fun where he like pulls on his tie, and I think we will actually see this in whether it's the main story or a future update somewhere along the line. But I think MC will pull on his tie in some way like this. Another thing is when he is on the ground and he touches it. And it's like he is touching the galaxy here, because underneath him is like there's like stars, it's like the universe, it's like space.
Yeah,
So he
okay.
is touching it. It's almost like everything is upside down here, and he is standing on top of the universe. So I think this is foreshadowing Xavier's importance to the story. He is a lot more important than I think a lot of people are gonna realize, including myself, and I can't wait to find out what that is. So I think this is definitely
Oh, dear.
foreshadowing. And yeah, the song as well, like about holding on. Now, I hope I'm
Holding.
not alone in thinking about all the times that Xavier has held on to MC and she has disappeared in his arms. This is the one time where he can hold her and know that she won't disappear. So, yeah, that's what the song made me think of.
Oh, God.
Right. So, moving on to Zayn.
Oh, her favorite. I really want to talk about the song a bit more on this one too. Inside, try to tame a storm, but every look from you makes it hard to control. And shadows awake when darkness falls, I'll show. Such a sensual dance, I love it.
All right, so the first thing I noticed was his outfit. It is very reminiscent of Master of Fate. So
why would you mention it?
Is this hinting at Master Fate coming back into the story, or
no.
is this a different version of Master Fate?
No, we do not want Master of Fate coming back.
I love it. And also this move he makes. So he's in distress. Let's look at this. He's in distress and then his hands are tied. Now, I think more than just this being symbolic of Zayn struggling internally with himself and who he is and what he has to do, it might actually be something we see. His hands tied behind his back, him being physically restrained in some way. I'm not 100% sure, but we have seen him obviously being restrained in Tower of Secrets. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw that as well. And so, yeah, we've got the dance, which definitely symbolizes Zayn's, internal struggles with himself, his repression, his fear of hurting MC, his struggle between what he knows he has to do and his love for MC. And yeah, and it's so sensual. Do I even need to say anything here? This is Zayn and MC all over. And one thing I want to mention is when he picks her up like this, we actually get them on the top of the pyramid here, like the peak. So I thought that was really, really fun, but really fun framing. Again, guys, definitely look at the framing of a lot of scenes in Love and Deepspace because I feel like they're telling us something.
I want to also say with Zayn in particular, that song was very, like trying to tame a storm and like he's cool and gentle and that sort of thing. Again, these songs have been so well written for each love interest. I really do think that we need to give this more credit. And Zayn has always been kind of one of those characters where out of all of them, I feel like he's got the most to learn. When it comes to the lore, I think he has more lore in the story than anybody else, especially in his story branch when he goes William and things like that, referencing his anecdote. Now, there are references to the anecdotes with the other characters, don't get me wrong, and as more of the story comes out, I'm sure that's going to change. But, like, for example, Solace has one anecdote, and we haven't really been seeing too much of that being referenced. And I do find that very interesting because, from my personal interpretation, Solace is a badass. He's sexy, sort of mafia boss. But I would love to understand a bit more of how he got to the position he's in now. And things like that. Like, obviously, after he lost MC, what did he do? Like, how did he know to do what he did in the M109 zone to make MC eventually come back to him? I want to learn more about Silas, and this is not just pinpointing Silas individually. This applies to all of them. I just want to learn more. But I do feel like Zayn has got probably some of the most lore placement in the game, at least at the moment, for the main story. So, again, I think there's a lot open to interpretation here.
This is where my film studies, knowledge comes in and my comes in handy. But yeah, the framing here is intentional. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, one other thing is, I love the way that Zayn always elevates MC. this is the god
He's a
who
king.
deserves to choose MC, not Astra, not anyone else. It's
Fuck Astra.
MC and his love for MC. That's what he is choosing to serve, and I think that's why this is very, very symbolic. And also, you know, a one-arm carry is always a really nice thing for a guy to do. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Zayn. Moving on.
Right, before we move on, I've been recording now for 50 minutes and I really need to pee, so give me a minute. Okay, now that I am back with a drink, let's finish this off. All these songs have been stuck in my head all day.
Okay, I've just got to say, I think Caleb's is my favorite. I think he
Hot
looks
damn,
amazing.
really?
I think the dancing is really solid. I think the song is great.
Oh, the cat's
but
scratching at the door
Caleb
again.
Caleb was made for this. Him and Raphael were definitely made for this, for sure. So let's talk about Caleb. Now, we've already mentioned how it looks like the eye is watching them. The lyrics even make mention of it. You know, eyes on me, follow my lead. He is saying to MC, watch me, or MC is saying to him, watch me and follow my lead. So they're equals here, both of them.
Yeah.
And what I like about the dancing is...
I'm going to sort this cat out. Really sorry. One moment. I have the culprit.
Caleb never takes his eyes off MC either.
He never does.
Which echoes the lyrics as well. But also, if this is an eye watching them, then it makes sense. So I think we've got a lot of sprinklings of foreshadowing here and symbolism. Now, I've noticed Caleb always done this. He puts a gun to his head a lot. And I don't know, it's symbolically, he wants to, you know, I think it's more he wants to destroy that part of himself, the chip, the everything. He wants to be the Caleb that MC knows and loves. But MC will love any version of Caleb. She loves Caleb for being Caleb, and there will be multiple versions of him, and I think she will always love him. So, yeah, and just, the dancing is absolutely fantastic. Like,
oh, yeah. Yeah, Caleb was made to dance like this.
Do you know what? To me, it kind of feels like he's fighting. He's fighting for this love, you know? There's a lot of imagery here where he is fighting, and this, oh, wow. That means something. I don't think that is just spicy. Look at this. I really don't think that is just spice. I really think that is telling something about him, his body, and what he is made of. I don't have the proof for it yet. I don't have the evidence, but I know that there's something about you,
theories, girl. We don't need evidence.
To tell us something here. But yeah, this is all just... I just love it. I love the way he dances. He's absolutely
Caleb's nailed it.
Oh, and this part here, taking off the mask, he is unmasking himself. So I don't know if the story Caleb here is trying to tell is that he's fighting for MC, he's fighting for her, and eventually he will take off that mask and be his real self. Maybe it's about their struggle, and when she starts to come into it, they're in sync, but he never ever takes his eyes off her. Like, watch Caleb during this entire thing. He is watching her so closely. Also, one of my favorite things is he ends up on the ground.
Yeah.
Now, with Caleb's evil being gravity manipulation,
makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Gravity will pull him down, but he pulls MC down towards him too. So, yeah, and again, he's looking up at her. I love it when the love interests look up at MC like she is their world, she is their goddess.
Because we are their world.
Those are my initial thoughts on the dance sequences. Now, I'm going to very, very quickly go through the spice, because we'll be here forever if I start, like, really analysing the spicy scenes. And let's save that for another video, guys, or a Blue Sky post. So.
No, make it a video, girl, so I can react to it, please.
What if I told you it's not over?
Oh, I'm cooked for tomorrow.
In that case, I need you to take care of it for me.
Okay. What do you think Silas saw when he used his eye there? I'm not going to say anything, but it's interesting that he smirks afterwards. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Also, a side note, I do think possibly the mark here that we kind of theorized was a phoenix of some kind could possibly be a brand mark that MC has in Silas's future myth. I don't know. Maybe.
Interesting.
I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be seeing maybe
going
some
in
nuzzling or
Trump mode.
something like that.
But he wanted to come in, so he's got to pay the price.
This is just beautiful. I love this.
I do. Oh, like the way he nuzzles into her.
In that case, I need you to take care of it for me.
Unexpected things usually happen when you're traveling through space. For the rest of this night, you only belong to me.
Now, I loved when they were running away together, because it reminded me of when Shooting Stars Fall, when MC takes Xavier's hand and just runs with him and takes him away from his life. And obviously he falls in love with her, and yeah, it reminded me of that, except now it's Xavier doing it, which is really cute.
Yeah.
Now, I have a theory that the person who has betrayed the Hunters Association will come out to be Xavier, if not Andrew, and or possibly Nero's involved. To be honest, I find all of the Hunters Association suspect, and I have a whole thing about the Hunters Association I'm trying to figure out. But basically, I think it'll be Xavier, and I think it won't be as simple as he's a traitor. I think there's going to be a lot of complications to this. Now, what's interesting is,
of course,
what
complications.
MC
Love
does
and
here, I feel
Deepspace,
like could
name
be
a more iconic duo.
that. So she finds out Xavier is the leak, the person giving the information, and this kind of standoff or something happens between them, where she catches him and she does this with him. You know,
But why
she
would
doesn't
they be
trust
running
him. That
away
trust is
together,
breaking.
though?
So yeah, I thought that's what that could possibly be representing. And of course, we have Xavier's
You
possessiveness.
only belong to me.
It wouldn't be Spice without that, would it?
Yeah. Nope, definitely not.
The way you danced was different from normal. Close the door, and I might become more dangerous.
What do you mean, Raphael? What do you mean close the door and you might become more dangerous? Because I
That's
want to
pretty
see
dangerous.
what that looks like.
Yes, me
I
too.
really do, guys.
No one is going to interrupt us before the show begins.
Mm.
Can I mess you up a little more, please?
Oh no, he's scratching at the door again. For fuck's
Okay,
sake.
I think we know what Caleb's move is. Because I've been really excited for Caleb's first real spicy card, so I can see what his move is.
Yeah.
And it is the move where MC is walking away or running away. And
he grabs her and
and
pulls her back.
And I love that move. We actually see that in Decoherence as well, when he puts his hand around her waist and kind of pulls her back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is Caleb's move for sure, and I love that
I'm not
move.
complaining
also,
in
we
the
have
slightest.
a hint of body worship going on here.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Look at this. Caleb is worshipping her almost, but
The thing is though, right? You like this could be me overanalyzing this, but like, look at where his fingers
here.
go. It doesn't not look like he's applying like some sort of body glitter
like,
onto
look at
MC.
this. Caleb is worshipping her almost, but I also feel like this is because this is the first time he really gets to touch her the way he wants to touch her. So he's kind of, you know,
Experimenting?
really indulging in it, really, you know, savoring that feeling of she's my girlfriend now.
I'll be
or my
there in a
lover,
minute.
And, you know, I
Computer,
get to
please shut up.
appreciate her this way instead. And it's amazing. Also, one thing to note is I did actually notice that it looked like Caleb had like gold glowing marks, which reminded me of God of Annihilation in Sacred Chapter, which was Zane's myth. And I wondered if there was a link there between Astra and this. So I do have a whole theory about Astra being an entity that possesses, or at least has to have servants. I don't necessarily think he is a physical being or a manifestation of that. But that's a theory for another day, like I said. But yeah, I wondered if the, you know, links with Astra are slowly coming into play here, if that is the case, that Astra is much bigger than just contained to Zane's story.
That would
Although
be
Zane will be the one
interesting,
who
though,
primarily has
if
to
Astra
deal
was also
with
linked to
getting rid of
Caleb.
Astra. So I don't know. Early days, but
It
yeah,
would
I
make
found that
sense though, because it is
interesting.
still like the childhood friends thing for Zane and Caleb.
I'm not used to the lights or the stage.
Can we also talk about how good this music is at the end of this?
If you only looking at me. Before the city wakes up, I can satisfy you.
Okay, we got to stop there because, you know, Snowcrest is on the bottle, by the way. Very interesting. I
didn't even
love
notice
the way
the
that
bottle.
MC is teasing, and then they dance. Would it be, you know, Zayn and MC card without a goddamn dance, guys? I love it so much.
We love
It's
the dancers.
beautiful.
The dancers are cute.
But yeah, I love how bold MC is. She is the one in charge in all of these situations. I love that she's the one who climbs on top of him. And she does it, I think, with most of the other guys as well. So, you know, MC's really feeling herself.
Oh, yeah, she's
on
getting
top of this.
confident.
I mean, yeah, I don't think I have to say much more than this. But yeah, I'm not going to go into the rest of it because, guys, we're going to be here forever. And I think I've talked about everything I wanted to talk about. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are just as excited as I am. Good luck on your pulls if you are pulling for it.
Thank you. I'm going to need it.
Let me know in the comments your interpretations, your thoughts, what you think. And if you are excited, if you think they nailed the concept, if you didn't think they nailed it, why? What wasn't really speaking to you? Why are you...
I'm just going to stop Moles there because I'm going to give my opinions now. I think she smashed it. She nailed it out of the park. I love watching Moles' videos. It opens my eyes to a completely different side of Love and Deepspace that I would not see normally just by playing the game. And I do think that a lot of the points that she has raised in today's video is really, really interesting, and it's a cool concept. So, yeah, Moles, amazing video as always. And if you guys haven't already, go check out my analysis video. And it's nowhere near as good as Moles', don't get me wrong. But it's there. So, with regards to the plan, with regards to the cards being released, I'm going to be going for Silas, and instead of putting Zayn on the roster this time, I'm going to do a test. I'm going to put Raphael and Caleb on it. So I'm going to go for Caleb, Raphael, and Silas, okay? If we lose the Precise Wish and I get Raphael or Caleb, I'm not going to be too upset, but I will have to keep pulling until I get Silas. Hopefully I don't have to spend too much money. And obviously we do get 23 wishes from, obviously 10 wishes from the event, and then 10 for... hopefully, another thing, I forget what it is, but it's always in the inbox, right? So, I'm going to try that for this girl. When it comes to the cards, it all depends on how the polling sessions go, but my plan is to release Silas first, of him being the more highly anticipated, at least for my channel, and then I'm going to kind of let the community vote. I'm actually going to put it to my Discord server to vote on which one. Knowing them, they'll probably go for either Caleb or Zayn, probably followed by Raphael and then Xavier last, because unfortunately we haven't got as many Xavier girlies on the channel. But I'm going to be releasing one card a day. If there's anywhere you might be waiting, oh wait, where's this person's card? It may just be that I don't have access to it yet, so bear with me. And I will get them up. If you are a channel member, you will get early access to these when they become available. And I'm going to be streaming these cards live on Twitch. So if you haven't already, go follow me on Twitch, because you will get notified when I go live. And I do try to get you guys involved in the videos as well. But on that note, I'm going to leave you all to it. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.